In a northern area in Ontario, Canada, there is a friendly little town, the town of Gilmore. It has all the amenities of the average town: shops, stores, and the corner bakery. People go about their business in this average town. But in the garage behind the home of this man is something unusual, something not in the belief system of the average citizen. A non-terrestrial device designed by alien intelligence. This is the story about that man. We first met up with David at his home in the small town of Gilmore, Ontario, where David lives with his wife Nora. He has his workshop behind his house, and it is located in an area where the valuable red granite can be found. He was lured there from Vancouver under a series of strange coincidences. We asked David about his first encounter.
Okay, David, when was the very first time you ever had any encounter with a spaceship or UFO? When is the first time?
Well, this was during the war. During the war when, well, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a new invention that they had brought out, the generals, and during the bombing of the city of Dresden, I could see this triangle, a diamond shape, diamond shape, round disc, way up above the bombers while they were bombing. And I said to myself, I said, by geez, they have made a new invention. The generals are watching the destruction down below. And I didn't quite like that when I was looking at that. But all at once, one of the ships came and joined one of them. So all there was, just a triangle. It was a diamond, and one of them came and joined the other two and became a triangle.
And you sure it wasn't another airplane?
No. Boy, the speed that was traveling, inside of a few seconds, it was joined the other, the triangle.
And the others seemed to be joining with it, not fighting against it?
No. They were joined together with it, all at once.
And what time was this? What year about?
It was in 1945, the 13th of 13th of March, I think, or February. I got the date.
That's okay.
The night of the bomb. Anyhow, it's on 1945.
And when was the second time? Did you see something a second time?
February the 13th, I think.
Yeah.
The bombing of Dresden.
And the second time you saw one?
The second time was here in Canada.
Was here, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, can you show us what happened when you were watching television?
When I was watching television, you want to put it on? The smoke. You will see all these little dots there, here. And two of these little dots in the true center of this. multiplied and took the shape of a person from the one dot on one side of me and the other dot on the other side of me. And they just put their hand on me. And they were silver gray. All silver gray, the little dots like that. Silver gray dots. Now, it tells me something, that it must be the energy, particles of energy. They can become particles of energy from a point of nothing on each side of me. And just put the hands on me. Don't be afraid, we're taking you for a ride.
And what did they
And
look
I
like?
went
Was it-
straight through the room, in which I took time to look if my wool was sagging between the roof, you know. And I saw my body down there. I was sitting,
You saw your own body sitting
Yeah.
in the chair still.
well, this is transformation then.
Yeah.
Spiritual transformation. Right into the ship. Right into that ship. And that's where they started to question me. And they told me that I could take any dimension I wanted to go to any parts of the ship to learn the mechanism of it. And at the same time, I was told that all the artifacts of these shipbuilding were all over this planet. Mind you, this is all going to be destroyed very soon. All these pyramids, everything on the face of the earth is going to be changed very soon.
So what type of information did they give you? Did they tell you the information how to make the machines, or did you have to discover it yourself?
They make me go wherever I wanted on board the ship to learn the mechanism of it and how to reproduce it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm working on that.
And you said you were able to shrink down into a small...
Smaller dimension, going right where the pinions were.
And you can analyze all the wheels, everything, because you're very
Wheels?
small.
There's no wheels. There's no wheels. It's wings.
Wings.
Wings. And I push against the air. It's just like the waters of the sea. When the waves comes at you, you put your hand to try to stop the wave. It'll go right over you. The same thing did happen with the air. And the hair that is being changed.
And when you first met these two beings or people, did you know you were in a
There's
different
three
place?
of them
Or three of
on
them?
board. Aeon and Arcan. A was a man. On, I don't know whether she was a woman or a man between the two. And Arcan was a mechanic
A robot.
with a beard. And they said they were from the planet Kladen, which is the opposite to us. The opposite to our planet. There's another planet beyond the sun which revolves the same way. Beyond our sun. Mind you, you have to go through the black holes to get there. Just to show you that the ship has to be built with natural material and natural magnets in order to produce natural gases of reproduction so as we can go through any galaxy, whatever there is in this universe. It's infinite. There's no end.
And when you first met these beings, when did you first realize that they're not human? I mean, did they look like people, or did they look...
They look like just you and I, for God's sake.
You couldn't tell the difference if
No.
you saw them on the street?
No, You couldn't tell the difference.
So how did you
And
know?
they're not with big eyes. Sure, there is some with big eyes, but it's what the people are making it
What they see.
within themselves, what they see, the transformation. You may see small people working around a ship. They have landed many places around the globe, and you may see them in different sizes. If you're on the news, that they can double their view, double themselves. The ship is up above, the ship is down here, its shadow can be reproduced, and people walking about, and they're working on themselves. And beyond that, they're hiding in the clouds. As the clouds fly by, you never know if there's a flying saucer flying by or not. They're right in that cloud, you don't see it. Yet, when you feel heavy, and there's a heavy sound within yourself, you will feel that there's something up there.
And how did they speak to you? Was it verbally or communication, telecommunication?
They didn't even need to speak. The communication is done so fast by the eye. The eye, what you see, and they don't even need to make signals the way I'm doing with my hands. And it's telecommunication within one another. We know what to do.
Was there any noise on the ship at all when you were there?
No noise whatsoever, but I could feel a small vibration, the smallest vibration I've ever felt.
David explains the story of when he first flew in the spacecraft from Vancouver to Ontario in what appears to be only a few seconds. He saw a man carrying 2 pails of water on a yoke. When the man looked up to see where the light was coming from, he saw the ship that David was riding in and had fallen down with a heart attack.
I came here to Ontario, right beside that cabin in the back there. When we flew over, I saw this man with a yoke picking up water, and he was bringing it here in 1975, the 12th of October. And it was about 8, 9 o'clock. The Waltons, what time was it, the Waltons? 8 o'clock at night. And this man was carrying 2 buckets of water around 12 o'clock at night. And you could see, we were the ones that were showing the light down below. And I saw this man going in the creek and going into the cabin with the yoke and buckets of water. He fell on his back. And we found out that Mr. French died from a heart attack in the bathtub here. And the 2 buckets were there on top of the cupboards when I came to buy this place. And I went in the back and saw the cabin. The cabin's still there. A little wee, 8 by 8 log cabin. It's still there. When I bought this property. So, imagine, I was living in a house that I tried to build, and they made me move by offering me $90,000 for my house. A house that I had paid $1,100 for it.
David describes much of the scientific equipment on board the craft: medical devices, healing devices, machines that draw water from the lake and separate the water's composition into zinc, copper, carbon, oxygen, all into separate bottles.
How long were you actually on the craft for, do you think? Like from when you...
15 minutes.
15.
We were here and back in Vancouver. And this is where the red granite is for to build the ship.
Did it seem longer that you were on the ship?
Eh?
Did it seem longer you were gone 15 minutes, but did it seem like 2 hours or same time as if you were on Earth?
Just 15 minutes.
And you said that you looked through a machine and you could see your body parts moving.
Oh yeah, there's a kind of diaphragm, a cable coming from there, and all you do is just put it anywhere on you. It's a diaphragm magnetized, and just your body, all your veins, and you can see everything on that TV. So this patent is out now. You have it to get the neuron of everything in the head, and this patent is out, and the body as well. And anyhow, they could cure, if you only knew that they could cure that sickness, AIDS, by going through that. And bring you down to frozen degree, nearly frozen, and you could cure AIDS totally of a person. These are the new type of, they say there's no cure. Well, you can cure anything. You're going to take a magnet when a person gets inside, grossed, or there's sickness, like inflamed body, like. You just apply the magnet there and it will withdraw the bad right up, will cure. I've been carrying a copper pipe, soft copper pipe, around my hands to stop the arthritis. Well, the magnetic does better than that. If you keep a magnet on you, it's all attracted to that magnet because of the hole. You see the hole? It is the whole of space, and that rejuvenates you.
The next morning, David awoke with a bump on the bump of his hand. After closer analysis, it was found to be a type of microfilm embedded in his palm.
That's the spaceship right there. That's it.
So you saw something
And
in
this
your
was
hand?
in my hand, microfilm, right in the hard part of my hand there, the next day.
How did you know, or what happened?
I didn't know. It's the next day after I went to the bank and got some money from the bank just to start to buy magnets and start to make all kinds of experiments with magnets. Oh, I was all crazy that day. Start to make blueprints and everything else. Oh, I was crazy, I tell you. Oh. But that microfilm was in the hard part of my hand, right here. Right in there. And it was black. And the skin was, I just scraped it and then, whoop, they found out it was a little microfilm of the ship. That's the ship, right there. So, and mind you, the microfilm, I never got it back.
Did they have any contact with you after you dropped? They dropped
Oh
you off?
yeah, they were months in the house, invisible. And
Much of the information that was given to David was not free. He had to decipher it through a series of observations and tests using trial and error. It has taken David 20 years to retrieve and compile this information.
like jars of peanut butter. Look. No, that's, yeah. No, that's cheese whiz. Peanut butter is always empty, goddammit. Not here. Here's a peanut. Somebody's been eating. Always empty. They showed me from a peanut, the shell of a peanut, and those two bloody nuts inside. They vibrate as well, when they're dry. But when they're fresh, they don't vibrate. Fresh peanut, they don't vibrate inside the shell. Yet, in the ground, they vibrate. The fridge used to open up by itself, peanut butter, and one egg. One egg. Coming and going right back to the case. And that.
Why do you think that happened?
Huh? They were trying to tell me, because I'm stubborn, you see.
Yeah.
Huh? They were trying to give me the idea to think about that. The egg. What makes the egg? Did the chicken come first or the egg come first? Huh? Which is which that came first on earth? It's the egg that came first. The chicken came after. It's the egg. And it was made by them. You see, by calcium and everything else. Now, in the egg, the flying saucer's got the same thing. It's got the two wings floating. The egg, the yolk, that you own. And the white of the egg is the shell. Not the shell, the wings. And you try to get the yolk to hit the side, by shaking it like that. It doesn't, as long as the air is around it. The filament of the air inside the shell yet, that little white filament that you hardly see when you break an egg. You just take that little filament that saves the egg all the time.
Through these sequences of what David calls learning sessions, the friendly extraterrestrials have shown him the principle of perpetual motion using magnets. This is a simple principle that has been known all throughout history, from Atlantis to current time.
The other planet is on the opposite side. It's a balance. You can feel the magnetic pulling. Huh? That's perpetual.
So how does that then relate to
Yeah.
either the anti or the
Pardon?
energy? How does that relate to the energy or the anti-gravity?
The energy is between these. Huh? Now, you've been asking me how come to create a ship. Why don't you create a small one, a small model? All right, you guys want to know? Here's how I'm going to show you something. They told me dimensional. Dimensional from the point of the gene. Not the hole here. How big a magnet is it? That's the next. Then you move over to the next one, to the next one, until you got it to the size man should be using.
David explains that the common ring magnet contains hidden invisible forces. To harness these invisible forces correctly, the dimensional size must be correct. The model must also be sufficiently large. This is the same reason why a 2-foot model airplane flies differently than the identical full-scale model would.
Oh. This is the isotope line of energy, the triangle. The 3 beams that were on board the ship. 1, 2, 3. We bring them back in dimension. 1, 2, 3, smaller, halfway. Divide that again. Divide that again. You got 3 more. Divide it smaller again. It's dimensional. So if this thing fits in that dimension, how smaller can I go? Down to this little magnet and the point. So you can just imagine why you're going to build a ship far bigger in order to get the dimensions required. Now, if I was to use this for, say for instance, to travel into space. Travel into space. There's 1 hertz that I see on 1, 2, 3, and there it's on the 4th dimension. I see the Earth getting bigger, bigger, bigger as I approached it. Huh? The car is just a little small when you see him on the road. And this is the dimensions that I'm talking about. There, to travel to space. The Earth gets bigger, and your windshield when you get nearer to the Earth. And it gets bigger when you get nearer yet. So that's how you find the distance. These are measurements of space. Space measurements, plus dimensional. Now you get it now? It's deceive. It deceives you. I bet.
The unusual appearance of mysterious flower buds would happen from time to time. The buds are not found locally in Canada. Even after 20 years of storage in a plastic bag, the buds still have a bright evergreen color as if they were first found.
Or what
I don't know, but these, when it's after I've been on the ride in the UFO that this appeared later on her hair, 3 months later, just before those beings came back to speak to her. I sense a rejection of something terrible because those 3 people came to see her personally. And I felt this rejection. And she was by the window on the side of a hospital bed. And on her bed I found some little leaves like this. And she had some in her hair as well. Yeah. And on the floor beside the bed. So I picked them up and I gave it to her. And we were trying to find out what it was. So I even went and bought a book on the leaves, you know. And I found out that they were Angelica leaves. And I look outside went outside in the yard, went in the back in the bush, and tried to see if there was any leaves like that. Nowhere did I ever found any leaves like that. Nowhere. Yet, in the book, it states that it is Angelica plant leaves. And how come they're not brown? They're still green after 20 years. But she's been having that in her purse. When we moved here, and I started to undo the walls in the living room, and here on the walls, it was paper upon paper upon paper, and no wool. So what I did, I started to take one, wet it, you know, and I started to take one layer of paper. And then all at once, here, the same leaves is on the wall on a design on the wallpaper, same type, in this house. We moved from Maple Ridge down to here, and here we found the same thing again. And yet, on the floor, there was more of these leaves on the floor as well. So, when I sweeped up, looked in her clothes, found some in her clothes in her drawers, where does that come from? That's the question. I never put them there. Where do they come from? So, I don't know. Ever since she had those leaves, she's been telling me, I don't know what they are for, but I'm still waiting. I believe in taking them on board the ship and use them for something on board the ship for her. That's why I got to build that ship.
Other anomalies occur. Objects move, doors open, peanut butter jars empty, and holographic images appear.
Came 3 months later after my ride here, and they appeared from nowhere. A car, and yet I don't know, the car went out to the yard, and I went out in the yard to see if they were still on the road. No way, there was no car, they were all gone. No sooner they had spoken with her for 3 hours, and they let me know that. They warned me that they're only going to be here 3 hours. And they were just 3 hours right on the nose. They got out, and by golly, gone. That's the surprise I got. Those 3 beans. Yet, they lifted blankets in the house, opened up the fridge, eggs floating, pestering me to do all kinds of things that I did not want to do. Yet, they make me do it. Like the egg coming out, and take the egg, cook it, and take it apart and have a look at the egg, every part of it. When I break the egg, I see there's a film, and that film is there. It's magnetic. Now, I don't know about those leaves yet. I know that they are for a purpose. And why are they still green? And they don't change color? In 20 years, they're still there. And by golly, still waiting.
To demonstrate the mechanics of some of the machines, David saw a 3-dimensional holographic image demonstrating the workings of the equipment that he was currently working on. David relates this to the similar way in which the extraterrestrials brought these teachings to our planet thousands of years ago, written on the pyramids and in the forms of teachings from Christ.
Tell us about the snake and the pig and the butterfly.
Ah, the snake. Oh, that was in the living room, right on the floor. The snake. The first appeared is that big bee that I saw, a big bee. And the sun was shining in the living room, and I saw that big bee there. And it was about that high from the floor, how big it was. And that bee, and around it, after that I noticed there was a snake all around that bee. And in its mouth it was swallowing the pig. And you'd see the movement. 1, 2, 3, swallowing up the pig. And at that same time, there was 3 movement, 3 movement, 3 movement. On the stripe of the snake. 3 movement. So, it tells you that there's those 12. The same way as when you eat, Jesus says, take my body, which is the bread, and there's 12 elements that you are swallowing there. The gases of existence. Another thing, the bee, when it went inside the flower that was there, a rose, it went in, and the movement of its legs moved as it went inside to get the syrup out of the flower. That was the same thing, the movement of the legs of the bees were moving at the same time as they were penetrating in a triangle way. And these things that I saw there. How can you back away from the truth? I saw it, so it's the truth. Now I see the truth in the cross, Jesus' cross. He fell 3 times. There's those 3 times, which is the isotope line. And his crown of thorns is the sins of the world. Pushing, so that means the weight of the world on his head. These are the pinions. The pinions have to be the same weight. You know what I did in order to find if they're all the same size? I used the sunshade. That. I used the shade of the sun to measure them properly. For they have to be the same size. That's the cabin in the back of the property where those people were living. Now that's the machine I had to build to learn about creating a hole of 3 inch inside that machine.
Some of David's terminology is not consistent with the terminology used in science today. Many of these ideas and theories have not yet been developed and hence are not yet commonplace in our scientific vocabulary. Explaining David's theories and information using current physics and chemical laws is similar to the idea of explaining the workings of a digital watch to a person living in the 18th century. It's not easy. A brief summary and explanation will be shown when using David's terminology when the term is used in context.
Look here. The pinion. And this is the control. Have you ever played with a piano? Huh? You play on the key, but where does it go, these keys? There's a wire that goes and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls, make the sound operate. Eh? Well, the mechanism of that, Well, get into it, and then you can create the ship that is needed to elevate. Because you are creating, you are changing the atomic structure of the air when you start to fluctuate, creating energy. And that energy, when it has the air suction, it changes at the other end of the wings. It becomes argon gas. It becomes kryptonite. Kryptonite means K for krypton, R for rayon, and these are little particles in everything on Earth. The rocks, everything. Meaning, heater is in it too. But the cold, the hot, the cold, the hot. And that's what creates the black hole of the universe. By revolution and vibration by the magnetic. And then the air takes over. The air takes over, does the same thing again, and then it becomes invisible. You can become invisible. Producing reality is right there. You can reappear by moderating the vibration, which is a high-tech, very high-tech vibration, like sound, for instance.
David explains the principle of interdimensional travel, or invisibility. The mechanics of the wings suck in air from the atmosphere. Through the revolutions of the air from the wings, the hot and cold plays with the atoms. This in turn alters the matter and makes the invisible forces, kryptonique, become visible and available. Along with the vibrations of the magnetic vibrating on the particles, the atomic structure of the air changes and creates the energy that massages these particles. This creates a small black hole, and in turn, this produces or eliminates reality, or invisibility. Visibility can then reoccur using a high-tech vibration, thus reversing the effect. This is the same principle that was involved in the Philadelphia experiment. The principle of free energy was known thousands of years ago. In fact, David says that the formulas were written on the walls of the pyramids themselves as a record to guide future generations.
That is multiplied 3 times. The sound barrier, you can use the electrical, get it down to 1. Or else you can reverse and triple it. 4 times. You have those 2 powers, you can create 4 powers. Now, you see this, and I'll show you the other one. That the Aztec calendar, people call that a calendar. Sure, it was a calendar. But it is something else besides that. You see? I carry this. The Aztec calendar. You people all look at the front because it is nice to look at. Look at the mouth. The mouth open and sticking his tongue out for breath of air. That's the magnetic. Now you look at over what happens. And over you see the whole ship. The blueprint of the ship itself. Now, if somebody gets to understand that, he understands the whole ship totally.
Let's design a model using David's construction. In this cross-section, a disk floats freely due to the magnetic rejection and the position of the ring magnets. Now constrain the movement using a ball or pinion. This forces the disk to move in the desired oscillating sequence. Repeat this movement with a second disk and a second pinion, and we begin to define the isotope line required to harness this unseen power. This portion of the mechanics is called the butterfly. The two rods represented here by cones move in a circular motion. They are constrained by magnets in rejection. The isotope line is now defined and the disk spins by perpetual motion. Control of the disk spin are done by applying pressure to the isotope line. This causes the oscillations of the butterfly to slow down or speed up. This is the basis of ship propulsion. The basis of free energy is magnetic.
You're magnetic. That's why the top is off. Like you're magnetic. So if you take a pyramid like that, bring it down to create a wing, and then cut it in half, bring it down below, and you're going to have the tip right here into magnetic, the smallest point. So, natural balance of kryptonite. Pyramid, deviation, magnetic. And that's how much deviation. Now you have, this is all the blueprint. I sent some, and a hell of a lot more than that. It was that thick what I sent to Ottawa. Now this is the shell, the edge of the shell, the wings, the edge, creating the black holes when the magnets are at work, creating little black holes. Little black holes. 1, 2, 3. The particle from the magnet does that. Travel. And they multiply. Showing you the movement of the isotope line, creating the vibration. You understand that now? Now, this isotope line vertical. Now, this is a magnet. There's one power, there's two power. What about the other two? There's two more power. That's what makes the black hole, which is the invisibility. You can become visible. Reverse that, and you get those two in color. Now, on a diamond, you look at the diamond at the top. It will give you all the colors going down to the point of nothing. Another thing here, you see it, the movement of this. Each hole, as they go. The two wings does that. The two wings there. And when it climbs up, you see if it rides up as it climbs, that's expansion. It multiplies in speed, multiply in everything. It does the same thing here. You see, magnets making it flow and keep in its surrounding, like the ball I showed you there, the magnet draw. Well, you can do it in reverse. Now, these are the dimensions. And here in the Bible, they talk about the cube. What is the cube? You know what is the cube? It's both ends extended, regardless which way I turn. It's square and above my head as well because of my aura. And when I talk to you 3 feet away to talk to you naturally. But if you go further, I will stop to get. Well, it's just the same thing. It's the aura that you got around you. You see, you're carrying energy. You're alive. You're a whole energy. Yourself. You're a galaxy. So this is why you got to understand that. From one galaxy to another, down to nothing. Down to the point of nothing. And yet, you have 6 powers. 6. Your 6 senses. Balance, and 5 other senses beside that. Taste, smell, hear. There's 6 senses. Now, in the magnetic, you still got those 6 senses too. Since you have those 6 senses in the magnetic, how can I get those in the magnetic? 2 plus 4 makes 6. What about your center? You're the matter. You're the magnet. You understand? And yet, in that magnet, there's those 3 God within you, matter. And mind you, the witty bind, invisibly, the other 2 powers bind, which I have been telling you. The invisible binds around you. Now you get it now? The invisible, this is the magnet, and you have these 3 powers, and the minute I remove my hand, those 2, I got 4. Huh? So everybody has got to know that. The pyramids got the same thing. Squarely, boy. The moles, the step pyramids, magnetic rings. And by the way, since these steps are magnetized, Einstein started with this part up above, his calculation. Me, I went down this way. I said, to hell with Einstein. I will explain it better. I will go down and go further away from him. So I started to bring them down. If there is the particles, I bring it down to the pyramid power. The power of the pyramid. And here it is here, from the beginning to the end, the isotope line. Now, starting from the period does nothing. So here, I bring it down to nothing. But there's a particle. And that particle, give me time, give me the mind, man, think, and plan. I got those 5. Then I went down, think of time. So if those 2 are racing one another, those 2 powers, why not use a stick? You look at it, it's 1 point. But actually it's a stick, so I have 2 points. 2 points. That represents those 2 points. 1, 2. I got 4. There's the cube. The measurement is the cube. Right there. And the cube measurement gives you 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If they give me that, I'm going to get 2 of matter and 2 invisible. If I can get 2 invisible and 2 of matter, and by golly, I duplicate. It flows. Next, it is to apply it in a triangular way. 1 because I split it. 1, 2, 3. And turn that the other way. Here I found out that there is the air is divided in 3 parts above the earth before you hit the void. This is what you are. A galaxy. That's what you are. You are God, the perfect balance. You are. Because God, when he said, you eat my bread, you drink my wine, I'm your body and I am your soul. And here, now, that part up there is to show you the eye. By the way, this is the other part, from 4 feet to 8 feet in dimension. Now this eye is just to show you the eclipse of moon and weight. If you lift this, a little bit of expansion to lift, the ball fall on that butterfly, keeping rotating like that. You see, this is a butterfly. This is steel, 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 steel. But here is a butterfly sitting at the point of playing all the time. The same thing is done right here, explaining you're creating a black hole. A black hole. This is the black hole. This is the black hole right here. From the flying saucer. Right here. And it's right here too. The same damn thing is here. That's in the wings, between the wings. Now if you notice closely, there's 2 wings there. 1, 2, and there's the shell. And as they go, they're creating the force field of the black hole. The same thing goes in the genes. And every kryptonite gases of space. You notice that here. Neodymium, it is matter. You can bring it into matter. Kilo into matter. Pedo, isotope, quadri, yttrium. These are every part of the atom. This is all to study from the beginning of time. This is the room where you can close this room, no air comes in, and you can have a heater in here, and it can be warm.
The mechanics are fairly sophisticated and may look good in principle, but what about practicality? Knowledge learned but never used is knowledge never learned. In the hundreds of blueprints, diagrams, and photos that David has shown us, we can see that much of the effort has gone into design and construction of the physical model. This model took David 20 years to develop.
See? This is the crown of thorns that I call. The crown of thorns. You see, if those magnets were to be placed, one in there and the other one in there, in rejection, they'd be floating. And the minute I put a ball of weight, a ball of granite, Where are they? They're underneath there. All the granite is underneath. The ball of granite is underneath. There's the pinion. Now, this has to be magnetized to carry the cone, the next cone, and the next cone. And the butterfly goes on the top with the ball of weight. You can apply the force you want on any granite block that is at the base in order to make wheels turn. That's the way I built this thing to produce free energy on the base there, where there'll be wheels. The dynamo goes over there, and I make the wheels turn and make the dynamo go. Through the rods that comes out, you lift this to the height where it's needed first. And the granite block on the corner has an arm that turns only 3-4 inches along the top, making the wheel go. A ball of weight will make the wheel go. Simple as that.
So that ball is sitting on
Goes
top of
on the
granite,
top
the granite
of the pyramid. Of the pyramid. That pyramid, you got it in Mexico, and it is proof that they had electricity thousands of years ago. Proof of it. So, if this thing at the bottom is the big block of granite, 2 blocks of granite, find a way that, eh?
So why,
Now, you've got to have 3.
why do you have 3 of them?
That's the isotope line. One overcharged the other. You got to understand that. You need those 3 to make that go. Otherwise, it won't work.
Well, what if you use 4? Is there any difference?
Ah, yeah, 4, okay. But beyond only 2, it won't work.
So you've got 3 times the same thing here. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And that's what you got on the ship.
Yeah.
Same movement.
So this model's not totally finished yet, right?
No. I need the granite block. A triangle for 3 generators, 3 wheels, or a square sitting on balls, granite balls. And by the way, you don't hear the noise. Oh, geez. Stay there. Oh, you were here the last time you saw that in the granite there's no noise.
So why does it have to be granite?
Eh?
Why not put marble? Why not put granite?
Well, because of the weight. You want to put weight into speed. Not air into speed. Eh? Reverse the air from the UFO and make it weight on Earth.
Consider this more stable model of the free energy machine. A disk rides freely on the ring magnets in rejection. Movement is constrained to vibrational motion only by the magnets. We add a granite pivot point, or pinion, and constrain the disk's movement even more, and then steer the disk to a circular path. This butterfly rides in a constrained path or hairline. We now duplicate this disk to a second level. Again, movement is constrained, and the 2 disks oscillate in clockwise and a counterclockwise manner. This is the butterfly that allows work energy to appear. This point of energy generation is called the vortex. The combination of massaging the air molecules and the invisible magnetic forces is what allows the mutation of matter to occur and convert the kryptonic particles into matter, or energy. Define now the isotope line using two more magnets in oscillation in unison and of opposite direction. These invisible forces are now able to come out of the eye and create a storm, and a tiny black hole is created. Enclose the entire mechanism so that there is no friction and the machine will run forever. The only point of contact is the pinion. This is why it must be made from red granite, like in the pyramids, to withstand tremendous speeds and pressure. And it also has the ability to hold moisture. Add your dynamo to drive the generator's load. Speed control is done by compression of the magnets on the isotope line, or the eye of the storm. This entire device is now called the crown of thorn. This is what beam ships ride on. 3 working wings are seen in almost every model. This is to elevate the craft and produce its own energy. Many of the beam ships sighted all have this 3-wing configuration, defining that unique saucer shape that we have all come to know.
Yeah, tell us what happened when you tried to patent when you went to patent your invention.
In Ottawa,
Yeah, in Ottawa.
everything, when I went down, after 5 years, me sending all my knowledge to Ottawa and blueprints and everything else, I arrived at the patent office. I asked to see my file, and all they are, yes, my file, David Hamill, but with only 1 sheet of paper in there, no drawings, nothing left. Everything was stolen or moved. I don't know. And I had my wife with me, and boy, did I raise shit in there on the 8th floor of the patent office in Hall, Quebec, upstairs. When you patent something, you patent it, you build it, it's yours. Don't give it away anymore. That's it.
You think the government is keeping it in a separate file for their own information,
No.
their own purpose?
No.
You mentioned something about some people from the Boeing aircraft came to see you? Or?
Yes, 5 or 6. Anyhow, they were all dressed in black. And that bloody limousine there that came in the yard there, they went in the house, they were all over the place on my property. And then they turned around and said, oh, there's nothing here. But they didn't see the magnets, what they were doing. They didn't see that.
So who do you think they were? I mean,
Huh?
government, secret agents? What?
I don't know who they were.
Explain to us what happened when the 3 men came to talk to Nora. And
It's a car, it had a red license. Red license. And I never looked what was the number or the British Columbia. There was none of that.
David explains how all of the artifacts all over the world show that free energy machines and spacecrafts were here thousands of years ago, before Christ, before the pyramids, even before Atlantis.
It's me, the hairline of rejection, the hairline. You see that piece float on the butterfly, which is a ball, and it's on the side. Now that's the hairline. It rides on the hairline in vibration. The airline is the isotope line of energy, the airline. So it's 1, 2, 3. And that, you have that right on the walls of the pyramid by explanation. All the whole walls of the pyramid explain about the ship. and the molds and everything are the wings and so on. If people could only understand that. See, this pyramid is in Mexico. Now look, it's underground. And you know where the cars travel, like the underground in Toronto?
Subway, yeah.
Well, they found this pyramid, and look at the disc and the holes where the vibration were to make wheels turn on the corner, the four corners. Now there's a round disc there. There's more than one round disc. There's two. One of them carries on the edge is a rod coming up to make wheels turn. It's offset, you see. You put in your wheel, and this drives the wheel. The rod that comes right through it. There's four of them. And the mechanism inside is what I got. I'm building here. The mechanism to create the free energy. Now, you want to film that? Here. Now, notice the granite block underneath that used to work like this.
It goes around.
And these are the corners. There's 4 holes on every corner. And on top, you remove that top, and you're going to find out it's a donut, and what's on top of it is the butterfly. The ball rides on that, and that makes it go all the time, all the time, all the time. You understand?
Yep. And this is actually in Mexico.
Hmm?
In Mexico.
Yeah, right underground. Pyramid. The pyramid is a mold. A mold to create wings. You turn them inward. Cut this off. So you put it inside and cut the top off. Put a magnet, and you have wings. Why do you think there's so many forms in UFO? There's a triangle. Triangle UFOs that they've seen. There's the 3 lights in 3. It tells you about the isotope line of the energy itself. What we are not. Look at those stones here. It tells you there's the shell and the 3 wings. They're all inside the ship.
Yeah, it's like a.
Now, it shows you that there's got to be harmony. Harmony, we all understand one another. The gods that are carrying balls of weight on their heads. And these, what you might call, these are, there's I don't know how many there is there must be 13, 12. Anyhow, they're all gods. And they're all in harmony with one another before the ship starts. David, when he threw that pinion, it's a pinion that he threw. Mark my word, when you read in the Bible, it says, David picked the rock from God, and he whirled it. How the hell can you catch a small pinion so sharp and it's turning? How the hell could he catch that, the giant, to stop it? He got it square in the head and got killed by it. The little man, David, killed the giant Goliath. And Goliath never protected himself. He didn't need a bullet to shoot him, just a rock. One pinion, the pinion that belongs to the ship of God. The Stonehenge in England and all the little molds that you see around in Europe before our time way before this was the time of Noah for the flood. He had to build a ship on top and carried the animals 2 by 2 inside that ship. His family was living in it as well. He had the laboratory upstairs, which was full of deep freeze, so as to keep the gene frozen inside the ship, which was, he was living in as a family, Noah, his wife, and the descendant, the son and so on. When they started to take 2 by 2 the genes of every animal, which was placed in the laboratory inside the ship. When the flood did occur, well, they landed back, and they needed a ship to elevate.
If they would only read the information on the Egyptian plaques and decipher their hieroglyphics, then they would see the information there. The past is the future.
Now, if you were to put the picture of the ship, this is to show you the duality. If I showed you, that's the beginning of the duality. God made us. And there's the very first ship. Where is it? That's the very first ship. Notice those people, the size of them, and the size of that machine. Huh? Now you multiply that. The people are small beside that machine. Look at it here. How small those people are. Beside the whole ship, what's going on. These are wings, cones. There's 4 of them. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these are the eye. One of the magnetic, which is matter, the other one is invisible, which is actually the atom. You know, there's 2 particles that keeps rotating around the atom all the time. That's the atom, magnetic, balance, perfect balance, in order to get celestial. Now, you need the duality plus twice as much to create ether. That is equal to the balance of power. That's what it represents, the gases of space, kryptonite. These are the cones. The cones, one inside the other, to balance itself. Huh? Within the shell. The shell is the atom that keeps rotating.
You said a kind of a recycling is going to happen when the sun comes
Yes.
in between
Yes.
the Earth and our sun?
Yes.
Explain that to us a bit.
Well, our second sun, we're going to be reproducing this second sun. We're doing it by the nuclear bombs that we're exploding. One of these days, it's going to trigger the whole damn thing. There's just so much in practice that you can do before you hit the right one, and that's it. The neurons can only take so much.
What are some of the Earth changes that you think are going to happen as a result of us mistreating the Earth?
Well, I was told that there is a black cloud we're going to go through. And this black cloud, you can see it in the books today. It's matter. Matter from residue from a galaxy that exploded, I don't know how many years back. Maybe it's not the black cloud will come over. We are going to pass through. During sometimes the astronomers are watching, but one of these nights they're going to find out that they're passing through we're going to go through a black cloud. And this black cloud is residue from a galaxy that exploded, and that means matter. Matter, and it looks like a form of a cloud, but it's not a cloud, it's boulders of different size, maybe bigger than the Earth. So this is what we're going to hit.
Do you still have contact with these people today?
Well, it keeps me going. So it's in there. It's in the body, it's in the mind. I can't get away from it. Anyhow, when I was taken on board that ship, after I went overseas and saw those ships there, I'd never thought about flying saucers until 1975, after I had been on board one. And that was in 1975, the 12th of October.
Why do you think that you were chosen to do this task?
I don't know.
Don't know?
Don't ask me that question. That's the worst part. I don't know.
So, do we continue on to believe that we are the only ones out there? That we are the divine rulers of our galaxy? Or do we alter our belief system slightly to take into account this new, or rather old information? Are the pyramids there merely as ornaments? Are extraterrestrials a reality? Do we really want to believe? Consciousness and awareness are on the rise all over this little planet of ours, Earth. So why not take a good look at the evidence and then decide?